You're listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls, tradition, education, and quality. Built to hunt.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Union 0430. Yeah, check it out. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've had a special guest host come on. So, everybody, you all know Brian Ellithorpe. He's been on the show a bunch of times. And I got to tell you, Brian, the last time you were on the show and you made a statement saying, I think I'm getting up close to getting tied with Jeff Coates for most appearances.
I think this is it.
Yeah. Well, guess what? And I know Jeff Coates is listening. So guess what? It was like 2 days after that show dropped. I get a message from Jeff Coates. He was like, looks like you got to get me back on the show here real soon. And I knew he had listened to the show and he had said, there's no way Ellithorpe is beating me. So
the end too. I said that at the end.
Oh yeah. Jeff listens.
He's listening all the way through.
So this is Tuesday night. We're recording this show. It'll drop on Monday. So in 6 days, but Thursday night, Jeff wants to come on. So I'm doing a show again Thursday night. So it's funny because now we're going to record the show on Thursday night and I'll tell him, I'm like, well, if you think you're pulling ahead of Ellithorpe, you're not, because he's got you beat because
just barely.
Yeah, just barely. So, Brian, thanks so much for coming on. Phil had something that came up, and Mark is actually doing a Christmas party for a search and rescue group that he's with. So neither one of those can make it, and it was a last minute. I called Brian, asked him if he'd jump on, and of course he said yes. He's escaping his kids, so he jumped on. And then, listen, the busiest man in waterfowl, I think, is Cory Foskett, because, buddy, I bet you we go easy 2-3 months, like, between chats, because you're just that busy.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. It's all self-inflicted. Like I was talking to you and Brian ahead of time, but, I love it. I love my life. It's crazy busy, but I'm blessed with health. And, so like I said, it's all self-inflicted, but we have to drop. But I'm surprised you dropped some pretty late text messages, and you know that I'm a night owl working, so we usually have some late conversations via text late at night, Yeah. But good to be back on with you guys.
No, buddy, I appreciate it so much, and I know you've been busy, and you know what? That's we're coming up onto a special part of the year, with Christmas, and it seems like around the Christmas time, that's the common theme around Christmas is family and getting together and being thankful and stuff. And I know you guys had just celebrated American Thanksgiving there not very long ago and the whole bit. But with Christmas coming along, you said a really good thing there, Cory, when you said that you're blessed and it's self-inflicted and you're happy and everything. And I think this time of the year, things can get a little bit hectic and with kids and trying to make sure that everything is going to be as special as it possibly can for Christmas and everything. And, sometimes we just got to sit back and take a deep breath and just be happy that, we've got our health and because there are some people out there that's, they're struggling and things aren't as good as what they wish it could be. And, time to appreciate the good in life, and it doesn't, and Lord knows it's not always going to be good. There's going to be rough patches, but enjoy the good when it comes, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. And kind of got you can make what you can of it. You can get down in the dumps and get bummed out, or keep your head up and surround yourself with like-minded people. And absolutely. And at the end of the day, like I said, we're blessed with our health and just, roof over our heads, and people are definitely worse off than we are. Right. So, absolutely. I definitely recognize that. So,
so we're going to kick this off well, actually, I got a couple things I got to do because I've been horrible at this, and Brian tells me I got to do it, and everybody else tells me that I've got to do it. So I've got to put the plug out. So if everybody, whoever's listening or whoever is watching, please like and subscribe to the channel if it's on the podcast or if it's on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, it means a ton to me that you're subscribing and liking, and it makes me feel like you actually care about me, and that's very, very important. So thanks for that. Like I said, we've got a great show, and this show is, I don't know, like you sort of touched on it, Cory. This is the epitome of surround yourself with good people and good things will happen. Cory, you've been a huge supporter of Punisher Waterfowl ever since, we've known you, and you've always backed us, and I'll send you messages sometimes with some crazy whacked out ideas, and I'm like, hey, I want to do this. Do you think you could get behind it? And then, well, yeah, but so there's yeses and there's nos, and there's good reasons for the nos and good reasons for the yeses, but you've always been a good supporter to the brand. And then, and then I got Brian Ellithorpe, who, I reach out to him with 30 minutes notice to jump on the show, and he's like, yep. And he just had to run it by his wife quickly to make sure, and she was like, yes, go, get out of my hair, go on your show. So no, it's great, man. And these are the things that I consider myself blessed for, because I've got these friends. But one friend I do want to give a shout out to right now is Lori Ann Horse, who I know listens to the show, who's a good friend. She owns the Canadian Sportswoman Society, which is a huge advocate for ladies in the hunting, fishing world up here in Canada. Huge shout out to her for just being a great friend and checking in on me and making sure everything is all good to go. So thanks, Lori Ann, for being you. Okay, so all that stuff is out of the way. Let's get into the show. We've had a bunch of people message us. Well, I say us, it's me. We've had a bunch of people message me over the last little bit asking about some gear and asking about blind bags and decoys and stuff like that. And Cory, with you coming on, and I, when we were chatting earlier this week, I had mentioned could you bring on some blind bags, some decoys, talk about some stuff? And I was telling my buddy Trevor Davidson about this, and he goes, listen, when you're talking to the guys from Tanglefree, can you ask them, can they design a blind bag that can hold a cup or a mug or something for my coffee? And I'm honest, I'm happy to tell you, Trevor, that it's that it's coming, but I'm not telling you nothing else about it. But it's coming.
Yeah, sorry, Trevor. We're getting there. But hey, real quick though, because Brian brought it up, we did recently launch a backpack last month, and Brian's correct. Right. It does have that. So that particular item does have the storage capabilities for a coffee mug that you could keep it upright and not spill it all over the place.
What backpack?
I just ordered it today.
What backpack is
that's
it,
like
Cory?
our newest one. It's just a new backpack. It comes in currently right now. It comes in two patterns, like the Realtree Max 7 and the Mossy Oak Shadowgrass Blaze. But we just launched it, so it's under the. Let me look here real quick, just because I'm. So Brian, you grabbed one today, you said?
Yeah, I didn't realize that it just came out, and I was looking for another bag, and I've already got 2 other Tanglefree bags, so I might as well buy a third one.
Yeah, right.
This one's cool because it's got the shotgun holder that deploys from the bottom. It's got 4 zippered pockets on the sides, but it's got a real big zippered pocket on the top. And I have the other backpack that has like the capability of strapping around a tree, or it's got the the bird hanger on the straps, and I like being able to zipper my stuff. And it's not to say that bag doesn't hold that kind of stuff, but it's just more compact, I think, is what I'm looking for. And so that zippered top will be nice.
Yeah, and you're putting a camera in there. Like, it's one thing for a
Yes.
box of shells to fall out versus a
Right.
camera. Like, so I want that zipper just like you do, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But we just went pretty simple with it, guys. It's just the Tanglefree backpack. We thought about some different names. Like, look, let's just call it Tanglefree backpack. It kind of is what it is, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to
So,
bring it up here right now.
yeah,
Cory, I don't think you can see, Cory. I don't think you can
I
see
can. I can
Oh,
see
you
it.
can? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it here right now. Sorry, my
Yeah. So I have the ultimate backpack, and then I have the pit bag too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this
the
is
thing.
Yeah, go for it, Cory.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, because, like, you know, Brian being a user of the ultimate backpack, the thing I found myself being extremely guilty of when using the ultimate backpack is, man, I just would load that thing up with so much stuff that I didn't need.
Same.
So this thing's almost like, hey man, here's the amount of space you got. Don't be silly. Don't overdo it. Just take what you need. And now all of a sudden you take a third of the stuff, and you're fine. It works out just fine, you know?
Yeah, and with the with the clips on the top of the ultimate backpack, it leaves a little bit of opening if it was to dump over or something. Which is, it's fine when you're in the panel blinds, or you've got it strapped to a tree, or you're in a kayak. It kind of gives you a big open top that you can put stuff in, and it's easy access, which is great. That's what I really like about it. And then there's pockets on the big pockets on the sides. You can put a thermos in there. I put a Dove Mojo spinner or a Dove Lucky Duck on the side, and I can just carry stuff. Like, you can put a jerk string in there. I have headphones. I have, all this stuff, lights, and it's easy access. And that's what I really like about it. I just wanted a little zipper, and I was browsing and buying some other stuff today, so I picked up a backpack while I was at it.
No, it's
well, thank you.
I actually like this, and the simple reason why. So I'm like you guys, right? Like, if I got space, then it feels like I have to fill it. But this here, it just seems like it's just like a compact bag, right? Like
yeah. And I use it to travel, like, for one of my carry-ons, because one, it's a good way to test the product.
Absolutely.
And two, I get to use it when I go someplace. Like, if I'm going to Oklahoma at the end of the week, and I'll use that as one of my carry-ons, and then I'll just like, hey, that'll probably be my blind bag, because why not, right?
Yeah,
right.
Of course. Well, and
out.
what better way to test your bags than going through an airport when you're slinging it and throwing it all over the place, right?
Yeah. That's kind of what I kind of do that. So it's if I can't get in the field as much as I like to, I might as well use it, like, day to day, like packing it to and from my truck to my office, and then if I go to travel via airport. So why not?
No, absolutely.
Why not?
So, Trevor, if you're listening and not watching, I just shared the picture of that backpack, and there's a nice picture with a thermos being right in the side there. So can't complain, buddy. It's out there. It's out there. You just didn't know it was out there. So there you go. Check out tanglefree.com, and you can order yourself a backpack that can hold your coffee. But Cor, I did want to talk to you. So we'll come back to the bags, because I know you've got a couple blind bags you want to show off. But I wanted to talk about your decoy, because I use your decoys. Like, I'm looking across at the plethora of decoys I have hanging right now. And I love the decoys. And the thing I like about Tanglefree is that there's a decoy for every budget. That's what I like about it, because there's decoys that I'll buy that early season I don't care, right? Like, I'll buy, like, the cheaper ones. I don't need those bright plumed colors. I can buy, like, a cheaper decoy, but then as the season moves on, then I can start getting into my higher end decoys, and the ones with the better paint scheme. And not that they don't have good paint schemes, you know what I mean?
No, just different paint schemes. Absolutely. Yeah. Some are more detailed, which, that you talk about different levels, entry level, price point, big spreads, little spreads, like, and hey, how are you packing it? Are you guys in a boat? I mean, that's the thing. The biggest thing I'll say is, we do try to have a lot of tools that, because everybody's toolbox is different, and we're trying to give options, and we try it the best we can, and I think we've been doing good about it. Is there room for improvement? Yeah, of course there is. We're our own, we're our hardest critics, we always want to come up with other stuff, but you nailed it. Early season, mid season, late season. Are you packing on your back? Are you, are you in a trailer? All that stuff matters as to what choice you want to make on a decoy or gear in general.
Well, I can tell you that up here, early season, I've got a 6-pack of blue wing teal that I bought from Tanglefree, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And I only use them, well, obviously early season, for teal. And I'm going to tell you, man, like because all I ever used was just mallard decoys. I never ever put anything else in it. I just mallard decoys, and I hunted over that, and that was it. And then I bought these because I was shooting a lot of teal, and I was like, well, shit, it makes sense to put some teal decoys in there if I'm shooting teal. And man, what a difference it's made. So I can speak to a lot of things Tanglefree. But one thing that I use, and I use it a lot, is those blue wing teal decoys. I use them a lot early season, and I'm telling you, they work.
Yeah, good. Glad to hear that.
Okay, so let's talk about and Brian, buddy, you know me. I'll keep talking and talking and talking, and you just butt in and kick me off a conversation. You got in.
I got a lot of Tanglefree decoys, so I can jump in here.
Yeah,
I can attest to them.
Yeah. So I know you brought some decoys and you were going to talk about them. So if you don't mind, that's then...
I just brought a couple, and really it's of the same series. Like I said, I'm more than willing. Whenever you have questions as far as if you want me to do it in the future, and I can be more prepared. But I just thought I would brag about kind of what Michael Braun, our good friend in Carver out of New Jersey, he's been, since we started working with him about 5 years ago, our top of the line, anything that he carves, we have it under the category of like flight series. So that's our flight series. So anything that Michael Braun carves is flight series. And what it is there's just more detail in the carving, which then requires more paints and more work to paint them. So naturally, because of all those, like it's going to be kind of the top end for Tanglefree, right? So our flight series. So like what it's my favorite hen that we have that he did. So I'll try to let me know. Am I getting too close, or should I get closer?
Good.
I'll go really slow, just to show you. But you can start to see a lot of detail in it. With the texturing. So our flight series, I think right now to date, we're up to we have four different hen positions and 5, soon to be 6 or 7 drake positions of the head positions. Like old school or just simplicity, huge spread. You can kind of the theme, or they would say, is just toy soldier, like just a standard head. And a lot of times with a smaller arrestor head for packaging purposes to get more into it's all cubing out, right? But so this is like a flight series upright hen. It's slightly oversized, so it's not small, it's not giant, it's just slightly oversized. And then I brought one of the Rester Drakes with a nice dark head. So that this particular decoy is a flocked head.
Yeah.
So with our flight series, we offer it as with 8 drakes and 4 hens with painted heads, or a separate SKU is 8 drakes, 4 hens, but all the drakes have a flocked head. Certain people like that flocked head, and other people would prefer just the paint. But we kind of, once again, you talk about different options and what people want to use. So
absolutely.
This is our flight series. Michael Braun's been doing a great job for us. Love working with him, and he's a very talented guy and become a good friend of Tanglefree's and mine, obviously.
Cory,
excuse me. Yeah.
Can you the process? So like Michael Braun, really good carver. Awesome. So he comes up with a carving, and you say, yeah, I like it, Michael. This is awesome. I love the pose. I love the size. I love everything. How much back and forth is there between, once you're happy with the carving to then it coming from manufacturing? Do you know, like, is
Yeah.
there a ton of back and forth there?
I would say at the beginning of like most relationships, like you kind of got to understand how the whole process works for everyone involved. So
Right.
where Mike and I are right now, like we're working on stuff right now,
Yeah.
and essentially like we'll say, hey, okay, so wood ducks, because
Yep.
that happens to be one we're working on. No problem.
Yep.
So when I say wood ducks, we exchange text pictures to say, okay, we're going to do 2 drakes and a hen. And we kind of look at some poses that we both like. And like, usually, honestly, 9 times out of 10, it's like, yep, we both agree right away. Like those are the 3 poses we want to go with. So knock that out of the way right away. Then we jump into the size. We go, okay, like what's the size we want it to be from tail to bill? And then figure that out. And then he basically figures out the width based on that.
Yeah.
Then it takes a while. He's an artist, so you got to let him just do his thing, and you don't bug him. Try not to bug him too much. Just let them chip away at it, because they've got to go at their pace that they're comfortable with and to do their best work. So then, basically, once he gets them done, I'll get them shipped overseas, and we work on the molding process, and then get them molded, and then after we get them molded, then we get them to our factory where we do a bunch of blow molding to make sure like the molds are good and there's no issues. Then the next process is I like to get them back over here and let Mike paint them. Let him paint them and work on it and see where the high points and low points, and let him just tinker with it to figure out what he thinks is going to be the best mass-produced decoy. I mean, they would certainly be different if he was painting them for some of his clientele. But he does a great job of going, okay, this is a mass-produced decoy, so it's not as, I'll say, as tricked out as he would make it, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but it takes time. It's a lengthy process, and you just have to know that and be patient about it. But it's all worth the wait, right? We're doing a better job as a company, and I guess it starts with me, of doing a better job of like try to get ahead of it. Like, so, if we want to come out with a product for 24, a decoy in particular, like we better have already had it like a year to a year and a half prior,
Really?
Well, yeah, I mean, because you think, I mean, it takes a while to come up with the concept, it takes a while to carve it, it takes a while to ship it there, it takes a while to create the mold, it takes a while to have them test the blow molding, it takes a while to get it air freighted back, so then you can work on the paint scheme. Then you got to ship it back over there, and you got to make sure it takes a while for the factory to duplicate what Mike's trying to get them to duplicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once you do all that, then you got to get them and get studio images, and you also have to get them in guys like Brian, content guys who can capture some great images in the field, because I could sit there and have great studio images with the white background, but there's something about waterfowlers, and you guys both can attest to this, is if you see a cool image, you're like, man, I want to be there hunting, and oh dang, look at those decoys. Like, I want those decoys, and I want to be there hunting. Yeah. It's different than just a white background, sitting here.
Absolutely.
So, and for marketing too, when you see it as you're scrolling by and you see that picture of that bird on the water, and you can kind of see what it looks like in the field as opposed to a white background or just a gradient background, it gives you a better idea of what you're looking at when you're buying it too.
No question. And, that's where, Brian is new to the team, which we're excited that he's wanted to be part of it. But, the content providers like Brian, I mean, we rely on some great, fantastic photography that, yes, for marketing purposes, on the product page, when we send out an email to talk about it, someone's clicking through an email like, ooh, those wood ducks look great, man. I want to get them because they look great because of the photo that was in the woods that looked very realistic, So it is a very long process. There's no question. I mean, you can come up with cut and sew items quicker, but
Yeah.
blow molding of decoys, it's just the whole thing's longer, you know. I mean, decoys are tricky. They're, I guess I used to joke around and say, if we could have the same impact at the end of the year without dealing with decoys, like blow molded decoys, I would drop them if I could. And I jokingly say it, but it is a big part of our brand and who we are. But it helps kind of fill out the A to Z, you know, of like, someone buys a decoy, then they can buy the weights and then a jerk string, and then, oh, by the way, maybe they need a pit bag or a decoy bag or a blind.
Absolutely.
So, but they're a lot of work. I mean, you're talking about plastics, different blends of plastics. You're talking about, did they get the oils out? Is the paint adhesion? I mean, it's tricky, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a rabbit hole that you went down, buddy. And I really didn't ignorance on my part. Like I knew that there was I guess I sort of knew that there was a lot to it. But I never thought about all of well, so first off, I thought when you sent it overseas, when it came back to you, it came back, already molded and painted, right? So you just got the mold and then you still got to paint it and send it back again.
Yeah, and you know what? It took me a while to be able to find a good working relationship with factories, as well as like Michael, who's our carver, Michael Braun. So it's a very long process. What's even cooler is like just the blow molding of a decoy. Like, you know, I mean, you think of a shotgun shell, those little BBs inside of it. Like when you're in the factories, literally they're taking 50, 100-pound sacks of plastic, different blends, and they're pouring it, and it's got to sit there and melt for a certain amount of time. And then, you know, then this big heated thing of plastic comes down real slow. Then you got the two pieces of the mold, like a clamshell, and it goes off to the side, and then you blow molding. So they're blowing air into it, so it's expanding to the walls. You know, person has to take it out of the machine, and then they have like a razor blade knife, and they're cutting all the excess trim, which is, you know, right. If you look down a decoy, all right down the middle, you know, right down the middle. So, and that thing is hot. I mean, you touch that decoy, it's hot, and it's got to sit there and cool off, and then, you know, then you got the next step and the next step and the next step, and then all of a sudden you haven't got to the painting yet. And then you look at, you know, you try to look at a decoy, and you're like, oh, there's three colors. You're like, well, no, actually, there's like 8 without even blinking, you know. So, and you're still not done, because then you got to inspect them, and then you got to put UPCs on them. You got to bag them. You got to have the boxes made, and they got to pack them, you know, correctly. And then it's a lot. It's it does make me laugh, because people have to truly understand how many steps it takes to get something to your door, to the customer's door, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, I mean, there is a lot of things that happen to get it to your door. Then you got to string it up and put it in the pond. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff that happens, you know?
Yeah, no. And you're very right there. Just on, I think, you know, I'm always cognizant of price, right? And I know as a businessman you are, and everybody's always cognizant of price. You don't want to charge too much, because then customers won't buy it. Customers don't want to pay too much, because it's their hard-earned money and stuff like that. But yet, you know, so just looking at your website, so your flight series with the flocked heads, $139 for a half dozen, right? Was that a half dozen?
Wait, for the flight? No, that's a dozen, because they're on. We're doing the 12 days of Christmas right now, so they are on sale. So you're right.
So $140 for a dozen decoys. Now, if you, and when I say you, I'm saying the listeners of the show, if you see that price and you're like, man, that's expensive, listen to the amount of steps that goes in to getting that dozen decoys. And I tell you, this is one thing that I do know, and by no means am I a duck carver. I've done a tried it and tried to get taught how to curve ducks and stuff like that. And you could find a good duck curver. The hardest thing is find someone that knows how to paint a duck properly. That's the trick. And usually that's what sets the champions aside, right? Because there's a lot of fellas that can curve. It's the painting that really sets them apart from their competition, right?
Yeah, I think the texturing and the painting, I would agree with you. I would agree with that statement. Yeah. And you know, listen, waterfowlers are extremely passionate, and I will laugh and say this, you know, there's been times when people will say, you know, hey, if you made them in the US, I would buy all my decoys. And you want to be like, hey, you're the same guy that wrote us and said $140 a dozen is too expensive. And it's like,
absolutely,
if that same 140 dozen was made in the US, it'd be 3 times the cost. And that's a fact.
Absolutely.
It's, you know, it's the labor rates that are so different, and just the mass volume, you know, and
absolutely.
It does make me laugh, because the same person who's maybe complaining about that is complaining from a phone or a computer that is not made in the US. So what do we do? What are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here?
Listen, and I'm not gonna, like, I'm not here to point fingers at anybody or anything, but, well, maybe I am. But if that's your comment, in my opinion, you have no interest in buying, because if that's the thing that's stopping you from making a purchase in today's world, right? Like you just brought it up, the computers, the phones, the amount of stuff that's sold on Amazon. If you think any of that stuff is made in North America, you're really mistaken. So, like, you really don't have a leg to stand on when your TV, everything is made overseas. Like, the amount of stuff that's made in North America these days is nil. And
it's very unfortunate. Let me be very clear. Like, if I would love nothing more, it'd be fantastic, it'd be incredible. It just, unfortunately, right now and previous years, it's not realistic. It's just not, you know. I mean, there's a few brands that are made in the US, and look, they get absolute top dollar, and they should. I mean, they should, because everything's so different, you know, about the process and the pay scale. So it's all economies of scale, you know.
Yeah, it
but
is.
Even saying that, like, the quality coming from overseas, like, I own so many of these Tanglefree decoys, and, like, the mallards themselves, I own those. I own diver ducks that I use all the time. And, like, the blend that you guys use on these decoys, they withstand a lot of abuse. Like, I have buffleheads that we have blasted, and I don't have a single BB that has penetrated to the foam. And that's another step too that goes into the diver decoys, is that you have to foam fill them. You don't have to, you guys do. And just like that,
no brainer, right, Brian? I mean, you kind of have to,
but I mean, even if you didn't, like, for, you know, the decoys that I have, and I have friends that just, I mean, a diver comes into the spread, you knock it down, and you got to give it a follow-up shot. They'll hit the decoys. And I look at the decoy afterwards, and they'll either the BB will be stuck where you can see it, or it's skipped off. There's not a whole lot of times that, I mean, they'll hit right on it, and it still won't penetrate those decoys. Like, it blows my mind how well these decoys are made. And that's why, I mean, when we talked earlier, you know, I'm new to the team, but I've been a supporter of Tanglefree for a while, just because of the quality.
And I appreciate that. And sorry, Damien. The only thing I was going to say is, you know, you look at, we could put 8 different competitors' decoys here, and we would all, as truthful waterfowlers, be like, man, those decoys all look really good. Right. So the bar is getting raised every year. And, you know, we've been doing it for 22 years now. And I laugh when we first got into the industry, like, what we thought was like a good looking decoy. Like, I like wouldn't be caught dead with it right now, because I'm like, oh man, like, just recycled plastic, like, you know, only a few colors. But that was like, hey, that was like the entry level that was what was acceptable. And just like our daily lives, everything is just getting so much better, and easier and faster. So as waterfowlers, we're pretty lucky that there's some really, really good product across all channels, from ammunition, to the clothing, of course, with how you can stay warm and dry, and then of course decoys and bags. I mean, it's pretty crazy what we have at our fingertips.
Yeah. It's funny that you brought up like the original decoys and stuff. Jeff Coates put a video up the other day on his social media, and it was an old video of the Susquehanna. I'm going to say the word wrong. The Susquehanna Flats,
Oh, okay.
up around the Chesapeake Bay, and it was
Mm-hmm.
looking at like the goose floaters and stuff. And this is in the days of punt guns and stuff like that, right? And I'm just looking at the decoys in this video, and I'm just like amazed. These fellas were just destroying birds over these decoys. And now I look at what I have, and I'm just like it's insane. It's insane, like how much
Pretty
different
cool.
it is. But this is, I guess, from in your instance, Cory, like this is something where social media and computers and the internet, where it could be a double-edged sword for you, right? Because on one hand, you got people that can now someone can reach you at any time. They can send a message. One bad thing could ruin a company now. The way it is. But at the same time, you got customers now that's able to reach out and give you the positives, or, hey, listen, think about this. How about this for the next decoy, or how about this for the next bag, or whatever. And listen, like we've talked about it on this show a million times about what's going to be the next big innovative thing in the waterfowling world, right? Like what's going to be that next product that hits the shelves that everybody goes, that's it. That's the game changer right there. You can only come up with so many ideas. Like you need input from your customers, from your friends, from your acquaintances, all this stuff. You need you need the input, because that's what makes a better product. And in my opinion, is when you yeah, go for it.
No question. Yeah, there's no question. I mean, I think, you talk about the power of computers and internet and social media. Right now we've been going like gangbusters, right? So our customer service is fielding calls like all day long, like through the weekend and late into the night. I think, I talked about waterfowlers being passionate, and they're passionate about a lot of stuff. And, my sister, who's a business partner, she works with a few of the other people here on the customer service, and it's hard because you take things personal, because we are a family-based business, and it's important to us. Like, we do work hard, and we want to try to make things right. There was a post the other day where a guy jumped on a Facebook, there was an ad, and he jumped on and made a complaint about something. So then I caught wind of it. So I went back to my sister and another person, and we tried looking. And what was interesting is he went online and made a post at 1:10. So he complained about a situation. He didn't reach out to us until 1:30. And you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
You went to the public forum to complain before you we didn't even get a chance to talk to you.
Yeah.
So we then looked, and my sister got back to him and said, hey, she didn't even talk about that, but she said, hey, I noticed you reached out. I saw that, someone responded to you, and it was 4 hours later, and it was literally a couple days after like Cyber Monday. I mean, just crazy, right? So it was 4 hours. Super cool. The guy totally owned it, which was awesome. I tipped my hat to him, and he said, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I got mad. It wasn't your fault. He was mad at UPS. Like, UPS didn't get him all the shipments, and it's like, well, heck, we don't know. We can't do that. Yeah. So, but it was really cool that he actually owned it. He was like, oh, I was frustrated. It's like, okay, awesome. Because once it leaves our fulfillment center, I mean, you get the email that says, here's your tracking number. it's out of our control. We can track it. We can try to check with UPS and do all sorts of stuff, but I don't know. Stuff happens that is completely out of our control. But that same passionate waterfowler is the guy that's going to see a cool picture that a guy like Brian takes, a content provider, and go, man, I want to have that. I want to have that product. So we have to work through it, and we do. But our biggest thing is we just want the opportunity to try to help solve a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all works out.
No, but I think that's the common goal and the reason behind customer service, right? Is because you don't want people mad at your product. You want your customers to be happy, right? Like that's just
I agree, but think of it this way. Like, think of if the three of us sat here and tried to think of a few scenarios. Okay, we don't need to name brands.
Yeah.
But let's say what if we at Tanglefree outsourced to a call center? Yeah. So now you're calling to complain about an issue. The person at the call center, truth be told, they don't give two shits about Tanglefree. Nope. They care about when do they get off and how much, what are they getting paid?
Yeah.
Everyone here within our business, it's super family oriented. We have a fantastic group of people. So it's very important for them to wave and represent Tanglefree, wave that flag and be like, we want to help people. So I do think it's really interesting, me as a consumer, if I've had some issues, and I don't get loud. Like, I don't get mad. I play it cool, but I'll talk to someone and, you try to be nice for a long time. And then you might say, hey, like, listen, I'm going about this the right way. Like, I don't want to be mean. There's no reason to be mean. Like, here's the situation. But some people just don't care. They don't want to do their job. Right.
Yeah.
So, I do think it makes a huge difference that we are a family-based company with the team we have assembled, that it's important for them to do what we would just say is the right thing, which is, try to help the customer out the best we can without question.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, and that's awesome. And I think that's the right attitude to have. Okay, let's talk bags. Let's get into the bags.
All right. So you asked me about some bags. So I think this might be tricky, but I'm going to try the best I can based on the setup here. So, you touched on it, like, hey, Tanglefree, like, you guys got a lot of different types of like entry level, middle of the line, like, all sorts of different types of decoys. We kind of have the same theory on bags and all sorts of other gear. A big thing for us is we want to give waterfowlers choices. So there's a lot of fantastic brands out there. There's a lot of fantastic camouflage patterns. We try to give our consumers choices of, like, do you want to go with, like, which is a new, they're new to the waterfowl space. This is their second year. Do they want to go with Realtree, like Max 7, because that's what they've been a Realtree person for 25 years. So there's a lot of different choices. Just a very this right here, this pit bag, blind bag, pit bag, there's a lot of them out there in the market. And honestly, there's not a lot of difference between a lot of the brands, truth be told. There's, clearly you got the logo. Everyone's logo is going to be different. They might end some different color schemes, but for the most part, I mean, some of the differences you might see is the types of materials that they use. Like, there's, you could touch a bag and feel like, oh man, I think that thing's built really well. And okay, maybe that's a 600D by 600D material, which means like the material going this way, horizontal and vertical. Yep. If you grabbed another bag and you're like, oh, that doesn't feel like that. So those are all people's choices, and it's all good, right? So, this pit bag, very, very, like I said, very common in the waterfowl space. I mean, you've got your adjustable shoulder strap here. You can detach. It's going to be hard, and I apologize, but you can detach these if for some reason you wanted. You do have a couple carrying handles that could get Velcroed. I threw on a carabiner just here. I think waterfowlers can always have a couple carabiners laying around. It seems to always help, you know. You never know. On the I didn't even. You asked me earlier if I brought my own bag. It's like no, I that's at my house, but still got the tag on it. But you know, right here, you could easily put like a vest or something.
That's where my dog vest goes.
There we go. I just threw a duck strap on here. I figured I could just show, hey, you can tuck a duck strap in there.
Thermos fits really well too, Trevor.
Exactly.
But see, I'm going to show mine. This is mine, but Logan Williamson, or please do not judge me because my bag is in Optifade, and I just haven't got around to getting the type of. But that bag. So, and I want to touch on it because I don't know if you will, Cory, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but the one thing about that particular bag, and this is the only blind bag that I have from Tanglefree, but the hardware on that bag, that's what I like about it. It's steel buckles, it's steel clamps or hasps. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to freeze and break on you in the wintertime. And I've had that happen to me, and it's not fun.
So
go for it, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So, you know, you asked me to bring a couple bags. So I wanted to show a couple variations. So this particular bag we do offer in 5 or 6 different patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're probably referring to this bag, which is, we call it a go-to bag. This one, you know, it does have there's some differences which I'll get into here in a little bit. I'm gonna put it on the ground just because of space, but you know, we would like to do most of our bags with metal buckles, from a 12 slot bag to a layout blind to a panel blind. It becomes it's a tricky one, and I know I'm kind of sounding wishy-washy. I'm not trying to, but it's tricky because for every metal component, it's significantly more of a cost. And what happens is when something's, even if you do all metal buckles and let's just say it's $10 more. So the general masses might say, oh, well, just charge me $10 more at retail, but it doesn't work that way. Depending on how it's imported in, you might pay 20% duty and then 30% tariff. So now it's not $10 more, it's $10 more of your base cost times 50%. So it's very tricky, because then it's like, now you're pricing yourself out of the game. So you can tell people all day long, hey, and by the way, this bag doesn't, just so we know, you can tell people all day long, well, hey, it's more expensive because there's 6 different metal buckles, and someone's gonna be like, I don't care. But it's a tricky one. It's very I don't have the answer for it. I don't have the answer.
My bag has metal buckles. This one has metal.
I believe you. Which I can't see what it is.
Yeah, because my bag has.
So
I don't know which one this is.
That happens to be with a different pattern. We did some different things with that. So yeah, but like I said, we listen. We take tons of feedback from very very respectable people, like from the Sean Stalls of the world to all of our promotional staffers who, you know, use the product, beat it up, talk about it, and like we try to hear feedback, and we try to hear feedback from our customers and guides and outfitters, because if we do hear something continuously, we're like, hey, we got to make the change. Like, we have to make that improvement because we need to put out great product, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, hey, just get in this bag, real simple. You've got some capabilities to, like, zippers here to put stuff in here, like a hunting license or something very small. You could put your lanyard in there possibly. You know, so that's, you know, like I said, nothing super crazy here. You know, then you've got a handle here, a couple zippers, and a magnetic closure. So then you open it up to get in there. And I just grabbed a few things, like obviously grabbed a box of shells, threw a beanie in there. I'm a big beanie guy. I like to keep my ears warm, but also protect them. I've got bad ears, so you know, got a jerk string there, and then I just grabbed a lanyard. There's no calls on, of course, and then you do have this pocket here, which I threw in. It's always great. I put my wallet and my keys just to make sure that stays zippered up. But really nothing crazy about it other than the fact that, hey, it's in Taifa, First Light Taifa. There's another little, there's a lot of little bells and whistles. There's another little pouch right here you could put in something small. And then as well as the pocket on this side of the bag and on this side of the bag as well. So, I certainly realize that consumers have a choice, and they're gonna gravitate towards a brand, and I certainly respect that, and I don't try to change it. Given the opportunity, what we would hope is someone's like, I really love that pattern, First Light Taifa, so we can offer it. They can buy it, and they'll have a great experience, from the website being clean and easy to function to, hey, you know what, I have a question. So they call us, they email us, they're going to get a timely response. They'll talk to a real human being. So we try to build those relationships where they want to come back because of those reasons. So that's, I don't ever want to try to act like we try to create new stuff, but like we talked about a little while ago, like, it's hard. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of competition, and it's hard to do something different that's not already out there,
Yeah. No, it's all good points, and with that bag, so I can tell you and again, going back to that idea of the bigger the bag, the more stuff you think you need to fill in it. That bag is such a low profile that a couple boxes of shells, your lanyard, your wallet, your keys, your license, and I always keep my dog vest in that bungee cord thing up there. That's all I need. But then you say, like, waterfowlers are so passionate and everyone's so different, but then there's guys that want a big bag, so you've got to give them the options.
Yeah, like Brian had that ultimate backpack that we talked about earlier. That you can load that thing up. So
I do.
I'm guilty of it too, man. I'm guilty of it too. So
there's too much room, and I got too much stuff.
I know. We're silly, right? So then this bag right here, this one, we've offered in a solid chestnut color before. It's kind of phased out. This happens to be in an Optifade timber. We have it in the Optifade marsh, and then we did it in some Max 5 stuff, which I think we're out of. So this was definitely an innovative bag that we were super proud of. It has a lot of little different features, but if you look at the back, this strap, you could go around a tree to get it up out of the water or off the ground. So you've got that. They also can be tucked away. So, like, if you're not going to use this, you just you can tuck it inside here. Got all the mesh breathable padding back. It's when it comes right down to it, it is a simple bag though. You have a shotgun. You can put shotgun shells here or here. So you can obviously have 2 shotgun shell boxes, right? They just kind of, exactly where they're at. So you got easy access there. Same thing with the bungee system here. You could put a dog vest or a thermos, depending on what you want, and you can cinch it tight. Like I said, we've got these extra molly loops on here. I'm a big carabiner guy. I just feel like you always need some extra stuff. We have an oversized 5-inch carabiner. We have 2-inch carabiners, but you got these molly straps. You can do that. This is pretty narrow. Like, I usually have maybe like a granola bar or a candy bar in this particular pouch right here. It's nice and close. Then on the lid right here, or another little small pouch, you can put some stuff in there. When you open it up, this one is actually great for a coffee mug or a drink. So that's a pretty good little spot here. You just kind of put it there, and then really you got one more pouch in the front, which sorry, I'm having a hard time with the zipper here.
Oh, it's okay, buddy.
There it is. Okay. So you can hang your keys if you wanted. You got your space here.
Yeah.
Got your space here for some organization. And then really you got your big main pouch right here, which it can come up to here.
Yeah.
And you can stuff a bunch of stuff in there. There's one more little pouch, and then you can cinch it tight. And then, you could flip this, and you do have the adjustable strap on the bottom, especially if you pack it in. You can make that bigger, right?
Yeah.
And then that way, in case this thing's bulging out, and you got this handle here. So it's just another option,
I think sorry, go for it, buddy.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, if you're hunting where you want the bag above water, it's great. You can clip that around. The first bag, hey, if this is low profile, this might be perfect for layout blinds and other scenarios. So there's just different tools. A lot of different choices that guys can come up with that they want to use.
Yeah. That's the one thing that, it's the bane of our existence is we do have a lot of choices. I don't think that any other pursuit out there has the choices that we have when it comes to gear, decoys, gear, man, it's just so much. But that bag you just showed, Cory, Eric was on a while back, and Eric showed that bag, Eric Massey, and I believe Mark Vitch from the show here. I think Mark bought that bag, and I'll tell you that in the military, back in the before my time, we had a rucksack, and it was built very similar to that bag. So your sleeping bag went on top, and your main compartment was on the bottom. So it was and just the frame and the way it fit on your back, it was awesome. It was a simple design, but it was a design that's people are still trying to recreate, and they still, for some reason, they've got to put some little tweak into it, and it's just not it. But that bag, it looks like an old, we used to call them jump rucks, because that was the only fellas that wore them, were the fellas that jump out of planes. And that's a very similar design. And I think Eric told me that he had talked to a military guy down in the States, and they said the same thing, because the U.S. the airborne, they had a different one than us, but it was still kind of similar. Anyway, that's a tangent.
Yeah, and Eric actually played a big part in helping to develop that bag. I don't know if he mentioned that or not, but he was involved from day one, and that bag, it's just weird. We talked about a little bit about the decoy process. That particular bag, we got involved with some designers, and a lot of drawings took place, and a lot of prototypes, and it just that one took a while. That one took a while, and then you start getting nervous about, hey man, we've been on this thing going into 3 years, and is someone going to catch wind of it and beat us to it? So those thoughts go through your mind.
Oh yeah, I had Eric on my show, and we talked about that go bag, and he said that you guys had a lot of discussions with people who make tactical army bags, and that's where a lot of those ideas were bounced off of. And he explained that process, and that it shows in that bag, just all the detail and everything, all the thought that went into it. And it took a while, obviously, but it paid off.
That's a cool thing that you just said, Brian. All the detail. There's a ton of detail in that bag, but then but if you break that bag down, it is still a very simple design, but there's a ton of detail.
All you need,
right? Yeah. It's simplicity. I know, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the bag. The bag is awesome, but sometimes the simplest, and I know I can't even imagine trying to design something like that you've got to try and put out and put it on shelf. So I couldn't even get my head wrapped around that. But yeah, it's a great design, hands down. Nothing more to say than that, I guess.
Yeah, no, and it's got its niche where someone could use it. So that's all. Like I said, the big thing is just trying to give people options, like give them options. Like, the best thing that can happen for us is someone tries to be new to the brand and they try one or two products and just see, hey, how was the website experience? If I had a question with the customer service, like, did they ship on time? Like, were they easy to get a hold of? Like, oh, by the way, how was the product? So we just try to chip away and let people start a relationship with Tanglefree from the standpoint of testing the product, using the product, and if they're happy, they'll probably look to come to us for other stuff. And if they're not happy, they won't. There's a lot of other good choices out there,
Yeah. No, it's good. And that's something I think I don't think we've ever really talked about on this show with some of the businesses and brands that we've had on her. But your website is probably one of the easiest to manipulate and move around in. Of all of them,
on the computer and mobile, it's just as easy on either one.
Yeah, like it's I'll use
well,
the term that we use in the Army. It's dumbed down, right? Like it's just
yeah. Well, the biggest thing about our society, our world that we live in today, is people are not patient. Right. They want instant results. They want to get to somewhere as quick as they can. So we want them to be able to navigate through our website as quickly as they can to find what they want. And, do I see a lot of things we can do better? Absolutely. Are we satisfied where our website's at right now? Nope. But that's the thing I think that's cool about my family and the team we have involved is like, we're trying to make things better. And it's a nonstop job, right? And Brian mentioned like it's easy to navigate on your cell phone, like your mobile phone, smartphone, I should say. Sorry. You have to have it very navigable through your smartphone because so many people do all their shopping, all their billing, all their stuff through their smartphone. So that's very important for us.
I just thought about it as I was sharing the screen here of the website and the scene, hunt dog. I got to tell you that I bought, I don't know, I think I bought a couple dozen of these the first year that they came out. So that would have been like probably about a year and a half ago, Cory, I think. And buddy, I'm going to tell you, I've had a lot of fellas message me and ask me, what do you think of them? Because of how it, it angles in the middle. And there's been so many of my friends that have bought these now. Because so my dog she's a small girl, right? So a 3-inch bumper that's the same circumference the whole way around. It's a little big for her, right? But this here, because I still want the weight. I don't want a little skinny thing. I still want a bigger and a heavier bumper. But I got to tell you, this black and white flasher one here. I bought this and I bought a couple of the orange ones, but this was an awesome design, and I don't think anybody else is doing this with the angled in meeting in the middle. It's awesome. I just wanted to give a shout out for those. Anybody that's looking for bumpers, I'm a real big fan of these.
Yeah, I have them too. They're awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Good to hear that your dog's like. I mean, that the whole purpose for that was. There are some similar stuff, like absolutely. Through talking to different dog trainers that we worked with, that just allows the dog to breathe better. If you're working the dog pretty hard, if it's once it retrieves, it's coming back, like it needs to breathe, right? So with it being tapered down towards the center, it would allow for better airflow when it's gripping it to breathe and stay fresh and excited to work with you, like with their trainer, with their owner. So
I never thought about.
That's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the reason. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. I just thought it. Honest to God, I thought the reason was it was just easier for them to and more comfortable for them to hold on to it, right?
True. Everything's true what you're saying, but if you happen to have another different type of bumper. If you put it in your dog's mouth, you can kind of just kind of look and see, like, hey, maybe it might not be a lot, but it's enough we went that direction for the design,
That's really cool. That's really cool. Listen, guys, we're at that 60-minute mark, and I could keep going. And I know you two are so busy. And if I stop, then that means I get to ask you to come back again, and we can do this more often. But we
No
just
problem.
gotta keep Cory out of Alaska for one. So,
Yeah.
so no trips to Alaska. No trip. Where was the other trip that you went with your dad? You went to Alaska.
I was at Alaska for a moose hunt with my father, and then we were home for 5 days, and he had a really great tag in Arizona. I went and helped him on an elk hunt. So it was a fantastic September, but I'm still paying for it. I am heading out to Oklahoma on Sunday with 2 childhood friends. We're gonna meet up with Eric Massey. Gonna go to Oklahoma and try to get some still photography and some other stuff, and maybe check out a couple new products that I showed you guys earlier before we went live. So cool. Try to work on some stuff and introduce it. So I'll be out there for a few days, you know.
Awesome.
That'll be good.
Don't hey, you can send me pictures of new gear you're testing out anytime you want, Cory.
Yeah. Well, you saw the real deal, right, in person.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Trevor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Cory, buddy. We'll do a quick around the table, and then we'll end it. And I've taken up enough of your time. And
you guys are great. Appreciate all the support, and I'll jump on whenever you guys. Unless you just get horrible views and no one wants to see my mug on there, I won't take it personal. But I'm here to help however I can.
I know, buddy. Brian, to you, man.
Thanks to Phil for giving up his spot tonight so I can jump on here. And Cory, we talked before, and it's just cool to be part of the team. So I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for jumping in and helping out.
Well, and it's really cool because I didn't know that you guys had never met face to face. Everything has all been done, virtually, like through email and through text and stuff like that. So pretty cool that you actually got to do this face to face. So that's really cool. I'm really happy. Cory,
Absolutely.
buddy, thanks again, man. Like I said at the beginning of the show, you've been such a great supporter of Punisher Waterfowl, and you still answer my texts even though I send you whacked out ideas sometimes. So,
it's good. Keeps me on my toes, man.
Awesome. Everybody, this is the Union 0430. Please check out tanglefree.com. I promise you will not be disappointed. Check out Brian's Too Many Hobbies Facebook or YouTube channel, because I'm telling you, there's some great reviews, some great hunting, and if you want some just bare ass, just a dude hanging out, hunting, no trick photography, nothing like that, then Brian's doing some amazing stuff. And I know you will see some of his work. You'll see some of his work coming up here real soon, after traveling around with Sean Stahl in the fall. Again, thank you so much to the both of you for coming on. It means more to me than you will ever know. This is the Union 0430. Never pretend to be someone I'm not. I'm not an expert, and neither are the boys, and they'll never pretend. Just a bunch of dudes that love hanging out and talking about duck hunting. Big love. Surround yourself with good people. Until next time.